Hello again and welcome to another Mordy and Glory bolt action video. In today's episode, we shall be asking and answering one simple question. What is the best Soviet starter army? You see, with 3rd edition bolt action announced and to be released later this year, it's only around the corner, there has been a lot of chit and chat and much excitement. And when a new edition comes out and when the excitement is palpable in the air, it's a good excuse to get that box you've always been wanting and to start a new army. But where to start? Well, we're going to be going through the starter armies, looking at the pros and cons, and hopefully I will be able to help you work out which box set is right for you. And so without further ado, let's take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Soviet starter army box sets. Now, let us begin with outlining some of the criteria, some of the factors that we are going to be taking into account when reviewing these boxes. The first thing to consider are the models themselves. What are we getting in this box? Are the models old or are they new? What is the quality of the content that we are getting? Leading on from that, the second thing we want to analyze is the variety of models and the flexibility. Are we getting lots of things that are quite generalist, that will be good, potentially safe going into the new edition? Or are we getting a lot of different niche models that might be at risk of not being as good going into the new edition, not as flexible? And finally, and possibly most importantly, we'll be looking at the cost. Are we getting a good bang for our buck? So now that we know what we are looking for, let's dive into these box sets. And we'll start off with the one coming in 3rd place, because there are 3 starter armies in total for the Soviets. And that is the Soviet Army 1940 to 1943. In this box, you will get 64 multi-pose hard plastic Soviet Army infantry. You'll also get a hard plastic T-34 76 medium tank. You'll get a metal officer, a metal commissar, a metal medic, and a metal medium machine gun team, and a metal 45mm anti-tank gun with crew. Now, the important thing to note about the Soviet infantry is that firstly, these are the summer uniforms, so you will not get the classic Soviet winter greatcoats in this set. And secondly, and this is true for all the Soviet infantry, by the way, it's just an important thing to know if you're getting into the army, these are older sculpts, and so they are a bit fiddlier to put together. The new Warlord infantry comes with the rifles molded into the hands, and it is a dream to assemble them. These older infantry, you have the hands are empty and you have to glue the rifles into the hands, and if you're not careful, it can be an incredibly frustrating process to go through. Once you've done sort of 5 or 6 of them, you get the knack of it and you get the hang of it. But I have had people who have built 2 or 3 of these guys and gone, nope, not building anymore, and they've sold the set on. So just be aware, if you are building the Soviet infantry, they can be a bit pain in the ass, but once you've got the technique nailed down, they get built very, very quickly. So you just need to get past that sort of first 5 or 6 of them. As for the rest of the models, the T-34 76 is plastic, which is fantastic. You do sometimes get resin tanks in these Warlord starter sets, which are fine if you're familiar with resin, but can be a bit intimidating for beginners. And we have to remember, this is a new edition. There will be new players getting into the game. And then you've got the metal models. Don't be intimidated by metal models. They're actually really easy to put together. You'll find most of them are single piece that you just literally glue straight onto the base. What gluing you do need to do will be just a couple of contact points. You will need super glue though. So I recommend you get plastic glue for the plastic models and you get super glue for the metal models. You will not be able to glue together the metal models with plastic glue. And if you try and use super glue for the plastic models, you'll find that process we talked about with the infantry very, very frustrating. You need a little bit of play when you're putting those old Soviet models together. So overall, this seems like a pretty decent box set, right? And to be honest, all of the Soviet starter armies are pretty good. You can't really go wrong with any of them. There's just small differences that make each one, slightly higher or lower, in my opinion. Now, with this one, the reason it's at the bottom is for 2 reasons. Firstly, the models that you get, some of them are a little niche. So the Soviet T-34-76 might seem like a very basic, good old-fashioned main battle tank, or should I say medium tanks. This is World War II. But it only does the T-34-76. And as you'll see with some of the other starter sets that we look at, you get tanks which are a bit more flexible. Whereas this one, it's just T-34. And so if we go into 3rd edition and the basic T-34 isn't as good, you know, it's not like you can flex it out for something else. So it's a little bit lacking of flexibility there. And then you've also got the fact that the M45 light anti-tank gun, that's a bit of a niche weapon. That's a little niche. It's not great in 2nd edition. It may be better in 3rd edition, or it may again not be great. So we don't know if that weapon's good, so that's a bit of a risk factor there. And the T-34 isn't flexible, so that's a bit of a risk factor there. So that's the first point. Some of the models aren't as flexible. The second point is the cost. This is the most expensive Soviet starter army, coming in at £123 at the time of recording, and that's when you buy it directly from Warlord Games. Now, you do get a lot in the box, but that is more expensive than a lot of the other starter armies we've looked at, like the German ones, which come with comparable number of models to this, like that German winter one. It easily matches this one in terms of content that you're getting from it. And also, it's not even the Soviet starter box which has the most stuff in. As you'll see in our next one, there are other Soviet starter sets which come with even more stuff. Speaking of which, let's move on to the next starter army, and this is the Soviet Army in Winter. This comes with a whopping 80 plastic Soviet infantry. That is 16 more than the last box set. It also comes with a KV tank, a medium mortar team, a medium machine gun team, and 4 metal Soviet HQ figures. So we're getting basically the same number of officers, the same number of weapon teams. We're getting a tank. We're just getting more infantry. So we've spoken about the infantry already, so I won't recover that stuff there. There's a couple of reasons why I've put this one higher. Obviously, you get more stuff in it, so it's got more bang for its buck. But also, you do have a bit more flexibility in this starter army. The KV tank, you might think, oh, KV, that's a bit special. It's a heavy tank, right? True, it is a bit of a heavy tank, but I think that it's a little bit better than T-34 because you can build this as either a KV-1 or a KV-2. And I have personally built this kit, and I know that you can swap the turrets out. You get both turrets in the box set. So if 3rd edition comes along and the KV-1 is bad, it doesn't matter, and the KV-2 is good, that's fine. You've got that flexibility. And vice versa, you've got that flexibility. So you've got 2 tanks, so there's a little bit less of a risk factor there. Likewise, the weapon teams that you get in this box, the medium machine team and then the medium mortar, are a little bit less risky as well. That medium mortar, it's a staple of 2nd edition. It's a staple of the current state of the game in action. I don't feel like Warlord Games are going to suddenly make everyone have to rebuy loads for the weapon teams. I may be wrong, but I feel like it's good now. It's take all comers now. It's not niche now, and as a result, it feels like it's a bit less risky. And last but certainly not least, it's a little bit of a cherry on top. It is very slightly cheaper. The last one was £123. This one is £122. Oh, I know, a whole £1 saving, but hey, it's still a factor. And if you want another additional real factor, the Soviet Army Winter, ridiculously common, really widespread. Any hobby shop that I have been into that stocks bolt action typically has one of these things on the shelves. They're very widespread, they're very easy to get a hold of, which is great because if the hype train starts rolling with 3rd edition and box stock flying off the shelves, it's a starter set that you can reliably get your hands on. But coming in first place, we have the good old-fashioned Soviet starter army. In this box, you will get 64 plastic Soviet infantry, which is actually more than the first starter set we looked at. And then you also get a T-34-85 medium tank, that's plastic, and you get a Soviet 82mm mortar, a metal officer, and a metal medic. Now, there is a little bit less stuff in this set. We aren't getting a medium machine gun team, and we're not getting as many HQ models as well. Also, you could argue that the T3485 suffers from the same issue that the T3476 kit does, which is you can only build it as the T3485. However, here's the thing. This kit, in my opinion, is the best one because it is significantly cheaper than the others. We're not talking a £1 difference here. This Soviet Starter Army comes in at £104 new from Warlord Games. And you can get it cheaper, like most of Starter Armies, if you go to like a third-party retailer and get sort of 5, 10, 15% off. And to me, this is the biggest factor, because we want to go on the hype train, but we also want to be sensible. We don't know much about 3rd edition right now, and we don't want to be throwing around loads of cash on kits that, at the end of the day, may not turn out to be as good as we'd hoped for the new edition. So this is the safest one, and it's the cheapest one, and it still comes with plenty of infantry, and you still get a tank, and you still get lots of HQ stuff, and you still get a weapon team. So you have all the different little aspects of bot action with this kit, and it'll allow you to try out a variety of units in the new edition. You'll be able to get a feel for how mortars work in the new edition. You'll get a feel for how tanks work, HQs, infantry. Covers all of your bases for the lowest price point. But wait, there's one more. I know, I lied to you. There's a twist in this tale, because I want to do an honorable mention. Now, this isn't a starter army per se, but I like to think of it as a bit of a pseudo starter army. This is the Siberian Veterans box set. Now, this looks like it's just a normal box of Soviet infantry, but you actually get a couple of cool things in this box. Firstly, you still get enough to build about 30 of the plastic Soviet infantry, which is cool. That's enough to build up a medium-sized platoon. You also get in this set a metal officer/commissar, so you can have an HQ choice. And you get a medium machine gun team. It's really cool. It's an infantry box that comes with a metal weapon team. On top of this, you do get some metal upgrade bits for the Siberian veterans as well. So you can have some kind of uniquely posed models. Now, like I said, this isn't a starter army. There's no tank in here. You're not getting as much infantry, but it is only £43.50. So it is the cheapest way to get your hands on what could add up to about 400, 500 point Soviet army by 2nd edition standards, although it may change with 3rd edition, of course. But the point is, you get to dip your toe in. You get to try out a metal officer. You get to try out a metal weapon team. See if you like even interacting with metal models, which are a big part of bot action. You get a few infantry. You can have a go at building them. You might think, oh, I want to get this one of the Soviet starter armies, but Mordian said the plastic infantry are a bit of a pig to build. Well, I don't want to spend £124 to find out that I really don't like building these things. Well, if you want to try before you buy, or try before you buy a lot, this is a good box set to do it. It's a nice way of dipping your toe in without over committing. It's not a full-blown army. You won't be able to get a whole force out of it. You will be able to give the game of bot action a go and see if it's for you, and get a variety of units for a very reasonable price point. And that just about covers everything. But of course, all of this is like my opinion, man. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you agree with the list that I've come up with here? Or would you have another Soviet starter army in the top spot? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Morty and Glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Morty and Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously, guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.